Okay, well, hi, welcome everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Erin Rooney. I use she, her pronouns, and I work with UC Santa Cruz's Office of Admissions. And I'm joined by some of my wonderful colleagues missions like Chantel, Colin, and Tomas, and also some wonderful student leaders that you'll meet in a bit, and my colleagues Jenny and Cheryl. You'll see a lot of our names in the Q&A, which you're able to use at any time to be able to ask your questions, and someone will respond to you. I just want to say up front, this webinar is being recorded, and as an attendee, you will be sent the recording later. Once we get that video nice and finalized. It'll also be available on our YouTube channel, the UCSC Admissions YouTube channel. So keep an eye out for those. Don't feel like you have to memorize everything that's on our screens. And now that those logistics are out of the way, I do want to give a big congrats to all of you transfer students who were admitted to UC Santa Cruz. You have done so much work and taken a lot of effort to get to this point. I genuinely hope you've gotten to celebrate getting into college, regardless of what your decision is on where you go next. This took a lot of work, and you all did that. So Transfer Fridays is really special because we get to have some guests from UCSC share about their services, their experiences, and I do feel like this is a especially special one because we have current transfer students here. So you'll hear from me about next steps for what your acceptance offer in a little bit, but I'm very excited to pass the mic off to Savannah, who is one of our many guests here today, and she's going to introduce the program and also our panels. Savannah.
Hi, everyone. Let me just can everyone hear me? Okay, sorry if you hear the buses passing outside. My apartment is right next to the Loop bus stop. I'm Savannah. I am a transfer preparation program lead peer mentor. I am a student worker. The transfer preparation program is basically a branch that's under admissions. Our goal is to support and assist transfer students or community college students who are interested in transferring, especially those from underserved communities and who are underrepresented in higher education. The transfer prep program offers one-on-one advising, peer mentor connections, which is what I am, major and career exploration, and invitations to special events. One that we had recently was like the transfer banana slug day. Yeah.
All right, Tomas, do you want to start off our panel of these wonderful transfer students?
Yes. Thank you, Erin, for that handoff. Thanks for having us, Erin and Jenny, and welcome to everybody that's attending. My name is Tomas Mendoza, and I am one of the many staffers that was helping. We've worked for the past 2 years of you all looking at UC Santa Cruz and navigating your transfer journey. We've been trying to figure out any way we can support you in applying, helping you with the application process, reading your applications, and now it's our privilege to kind of just really assist you in this final stage as you get ready to come to Santa Cruz. And so it's really exciting for us. We have some transfer students who have navigated this path. They've gone through this transition themselves, so they know what this is like. They know how it feels to be in May, planning to transfer, but and waiting for those next steps. They know that feeling and how exciting it is, but also how many questions they had. So any question is a welcome question right now for them. Anything from what the food is like to what what registration is like for computer science classes. Anything is on the table. Yes, thank you, Chantel. My dear colleague has reminded me you can and should ask questions in the Q&A box below. So please, 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 all attendees, submit your questions, and we want them, and we want to try and answer them. We'll either answer them in the chat, or we'll bring them to the panelists to answer. So that's enough out of me. Let's go to Nadia, and we'll start with Nadia, and the three of you will answer. Will give us your name, what you study, where you're from, your pronouns, and why you picked UC Santa Cruz. Yeah, go ahead, Nadia.
My name is Nadia Kazitsky. I am a literature major here at UC Santa Cruz. I'm a third-year transfer, so it's my first year here at UCSC. I am from Tuolumne County. It's a kind of small area near Yosemite. I transferred from community college to my local community college there. And I think that I covered everything. We'll move on to maybe Savannah.
Hi, I got to introduce myself a little bit in the beginning, but my name is Savannah. I am a transfer student myself. I'm currently in my third year at UC Santa Cruz, but my fifth year in college total. I will be graduating in, I think, almost exactly 1 month from yesterday. I'm a sociology major and a critical race and ethnics studies major, and I have a minor in Latin American Latino studies. I transferred here from Cuesta College in San Luis Obispo, and I transferred, what else? Oh, sorry. I chose UC Santa Cruz because they had a really good family student housing program, and also because I knew that Angela Davis was a professor here.
Why would family student housing be important to you, Savannah?
I have a 6.5-year-old son. His name is Ezekiel. And I had him when we moved here, he was 4. So I needed a house for he and I and his dad.
Julian?
Hi, my name is Julian, and that was weird. I'm from San Mateo County in the Bay Area, and I am a computer science major. I'm a third-year transfer, and yeah, I picked UC Santa Cruz because, first of all, the campus is beautiful. I love the campus. And second, the CS program here is really nice. I'm really enjoying my time in the CS program, and yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Julian. And we'll just keep that order for the three of you for each of these questions now. The first one is, please talk about some campus involvements that you have. So talk about anything you're doing it's like, what do you do all day, when you're not in class? How are you involved in this campus? And so we'll start with Nadia.
Awesome, thank you. On campus, quite honestly, I would love to be able to be even more involved on campus, and I feel like it's really accessible to be able to be involved on campus. Right now, I spend a lot of my time hanging around Porter dorms. I feel like I spend most of my time hanging out here with other transfer students. So I feel really involved in like the transfer student community, and working as a TPP mentor. I feel like I'm constantly surrounded by the transfer student community.
I am luckily involved with several programs on campus. They're not necessarily clubs. One of them is the Smith Society, which is for former foster youth. And the other main program that I spend a lot of time in, where they host a lot of community events, is a program called Underground Scholars. And that is under the umbrella of Renaissance Scholars and STARS, which is Services for Transfer and Reentry Students, which all transfer students are eligible to like be a part of that program. But Underground Scholars is specifically for students who are formerly incarcerated or system impacted, as in had a parent or family member or lived in a heavily policed community.
Yeah, as for me, I'm involved in the camp program. Camp is the Kuya Ate mentorship program, which is basically a mentorship program for Filipinos, Filipino Americans. So yeah, I really enjoy my time there. Also on campus, there's a lot of CS and like computer engineering related clubs that you can be a part of. I sometimes participate in some, and yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Jenny, you're gonna have to like DM me if you want a question answered by us. I'm not seeing another way of. Okay. So, how was the transition, panelists, from your community college to UC Santa Cruz? And I'm gonna put you on the spot here, but tell us the best part and then the part that you wish you knew and you could tell somebody coming in. Like what was something different? What was a hurdle that you experienced, and how did you navigate it? Go ahead.
Well, great question. I came from such a small place that I think that the biggest transition that I had to face was just being in such a big area, even like just acreage wise. It's just so like it's so big here and there's so many people here. But with that, I found the transition to be almost more comforting because of that. I felt like I had a lot of room to grow here because of how like big and diverse this campus is. Um, but I found the transition smoother than I had expected it to be. I think because I was so scared, I almost had expectations that everything was going to be like so scary and difficult. So I honestly found it easier than I had expected, and especially being with other transfer students that are going through the same transition. So I think with that, like the best part was being able to like meet people and make connections really quickly. And probably the most difficult part, or the part that I wish I knew more about, was just how big everything is here. So
I would say one of the hardest things for me was like losing the community that I had back home, especially having a young kid. I had a lot of like familial support back home and a lot of friends back home. That was one of the benefits to living on campus, is that I got to build community with my neighbors and the people my son was going to daycare with on campus. So that made the transition a little bit easier. Also, have one other thing, is that I came from a semester school and UC Santa Cruz is the quarter. And that was kind of a best and a worst thing, because while it was really like that first quarter was like felt like this really huge, painful adjustment, as soon as I felt like, oh, I can't do it anymore. I'm at the breaking point. The quarter was over. And there was like no breaking that needed to be done, because as soon as I was tired, it was over.
As for me, as a computer science major, my class sizes are so much bigger compared to community college. So to overcome this, attending discussion sections, attending office hours is like a great resource to get more connected to the course staff as well as like other students. So I know in community college, maybe you didn't go into office hours as much, but when you go to the UC level, I highly recommend going to discussions, going to office hours. It's going to help you out a lot. Back to you, Thomas.
Awesome. Thank you all. And that kind of leads, Nadia, that kind of leads us into our next, you touched on it a little bit there. You were surprised how quickly you got community. So I want to ask, I mean, I think if I was looking at incoming to UC Santa Cruz as a transfer student, I'd be wondering like, am I going to make friends? You know, like how do you go there without knowing anybody and find a community there? So the question specifically is, what does community mean to you and where do you find it at UC Santa Cruz?
I love that question because that was my biggest fear coming here. I was just like, I'm not gonna make any friends. I'm not gonna like, no one's gonna like me. I'm not gonna like my roommates. And that was the social aspect of everything was one of my biggest fears for sure. And coming here, like the second I stepped on campus, honestly, like all of those fears went away because everyone here is just so friendly and welcoming, especially again, like I live in Porter dorms, which is like specifically the transfer community in Porter, like one of the buildings in Porter. And being around people with a common experience, I think is what community means to me, or like common values, or going through like a similar change, especially in the beginning of the year. So I think that is what community means to me, and just like having people that I think similarly with, or we all are able to enjoy the same types of things. And I was able to really find that here, especially being around such a diverse group of people. And there's a lot of events and stuff like that where you can go and meet people that are into the same kind of things as you, or just in general experiencing the same change as you.
Yeah, I second what you said. I think for me, community meant like a mutual reliance on one another. Like taking advantage of resources sometimes, but also like allowing yourself, like communicating the resources that you've been given to other people. When I was in community college, I had no idea as I was transferring to Santa Cruz that there were so many resources available at the university. So when I got here, I was kind of like lost, kind of in the dark. I didn't know what was going on. I made my first friend, and she's the one who introduced me to programs like Underground Scholars, STARS. I didn't even know I was a part of STARS, the student parent organization. She was willing to gift me like all of this information about everything that I had available to me, to make my life here easier. And in turn, I was able to gift those resources to other people. But I also got to, like, I got in touch with opportunities for independent research and paying attention to things that were really like interesting to me and I thought would interest other people around me. And I got to share those opportunities with them. So not just resources, as well. And I think that's what community is all about, is like the willingness to help, and also the humbleness to receive.
Yeah,
Well said. Thank you.
yeah. Community for me is like finding people who can relate to you. Like, again, the transfer community here is huge. You can, when you move in here, when you do, if you, you know, commit, you'll be part of like this huge transfer community. But as for me, I live off campus, so finding community is, you have to put in more effort to find that community. So there's a lot of student orgs, student clubs, and you really have to take that extra step to find that community if you live off campus. Back to you, Thomas.
Well, Julian, I'm gonna invite you to elaborate on that. So what have you done as a off-campus student to build community?
Well, connecting back to the camp program, I stepped out of my comfort zone and, just explored my options. So I'm like, okay, wow, there's this cool mentorship program for Filipino Americans. I'm like, let's go check it out. Um, Also, again, stepping out of my comfort zone, finding a job, connecting with other students, connecting with students outside of um UC Santa Cruz, connecting community college students, you know, that really helped me find that community.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. All
Tomas,
right.
do you mind if I ask some live questions for
Oh,
our panels? I know you have prepared ones, but
yeah.
that
Jump
way you
in,
don't have to look for them, but sorry to interrupt.
please.
But to our lovely panelists, thanks for everything you're sharing so far. And again, we have more prepared questions for all of you listening in. But someone had noted that our campus seems pretty big, which I would agree, it's big. So they said, they asked, do you struggle to get to all of your classes in a timely manner? And we also, had some questions about driving or not having a car. So do you mind eating do you get to class on time? What do you do when you don't? What helps? That would be great.
Yeah, that's such a valid question because it is very daunting at first. When I first arrived on campus, I was definitely like, oh wow, okay, like we're gonna have to like figure this out. I don't have a car on campus, so that was definitely a big change for me. And I had never ridden a bus before, so I had to learn that. But it was definitely a learning experience. I was definitely late to a couple of my classes at first, but everyone's very understanding here. The professors get it because, they're also here on this big campus. But you get used to figuring out the bus schedule, and walking isn't that bad. Like I didn't walk a lot at first because it seemed very like far, but I got used to the bus system and walking, and now I've got it down, and I can actually get myself around campus. So you will learn and you're in the same boat as everyone else too, so
Yeah, I do have a car on campus. Let me tell you, it does not help with like the getting to class situation. It's great for getting into town, but there's not a lot of parking near the classes unless you have a medical permit or a disability placard. But one of the benefits of like being at a university is that you get to pick your own schedule. And once you kind of like, if you have a map, you can see from point A to point B. So if you have two classes that are like 20 minutes apart, you can see if you think you'll be able to make it in time and like close that gap. But the other thing is that there's loop buses. The buses are great. And also you really, what Nadia said, you really do get used to walking. I've never been a hiker, I've never been a walker. But if you space your classes enough, then you can lightly stroll to your class and you don't have to do like the half jog, fast walk to class. And that's really nice. Like if you give yourself an hour in between, you might even have like 20 minutes to sit down, read, do a little reading before class, review your homework so that you can like be active in lecture and stuff like that.
Yeah, you guys basically addressed everything. I would like to add though, um, biking is a great way to get around campus. Um, e-biking, I see a lot of people with e-scooters as well. That's a really popular choice, as well as skateboards. So if you're really worried about getting to class, um, I suggest investing in one of the things I just said. Um, else, the bus system will get you places and walking as well.
Thanks so much for some insight on commuting to classes. I'll ask one more live question and then Tomas, you can go back to the prepared ones. But someone had asked, in terms of finances, what tips would you give for basically being a transfer student and working with financial aid? Do you recommend any particular programs? Any jobs that you participated in? Go ahead, Nadia.
Awesome. Working with financial aid is very accessible. They're very able to available to answer any questions you have and everything like that. I know this period is very stressful, like waiting for where you got into, but you don't know your financial aid situation yet. And with that, you kind of just have to wait it out and wait until you get your award. But when you get on campus and you know what your financial aid award is and everything, I really recommend getting a job on campus. I've enjoyed it a lot so far. You can use Handshake, and there's a special UCSC Handshake website, I guess. And I was able to find this job on there. And working on campus is really great, especially if you live on campus, or even not, because you are just able to have that other sense of community. And you make a little bit of money, and they're also really understanding to your class schedule and the fact that being a student comes first. So I recommend getting an on-campus job for sure.
I came to UC Santa Cruz with a scholarship, so that was very helpful. But I also got the maximum amount of financial aid as I could. My situation is a little bit different than most students because I had a kid when I was transferring. So even though I was only 20 when I transferred, I was counted as an independent student on financial aid forms. I will say savings account is everything, but not to try to rack up a savings, but to pace your spending throughout the quarter if you're getting a refund from financial aid. So I was getting refunds and had to pay my rent out from my bank account. It didn't go straight to the school like most housing situations do. So I was getting I don't know, $8,000 a quarter. And I had to make the $8,000 last the entire 11 weeks. So I opened a savings account to save money in there, keep it separate from my monthly or bi-weekly budget. I also got a job on campus. And I love my job. This is my job. It's really great being able to work with community college students. You can always find these really awesome gold mines of a job. I know a lot of my friends also have jobs that they just love on campus. A big part of something that I really care about is being in community with others and helping out others. And so this job is perfect for that. But anyone can pretty much find a job that's right up their alley on campus. And my third tip is get a Costco membership or convince your parents or someone who's supporting your transfer journey to get you a Costco membership, because I think I go grocery shopping bi-weekly because we have a house of 3, but if it weren't for Costco, I don't know what I would do without Costco. You're going to save a lot of money and you're going to be able to have food for the duration of the month if you're just buying snacks for yourself, snacks and dinner items for yourself.
Yeah, speaking of food, if you do get work study eligibility on your financial aid package, you can actually apply for CalFresh and get those CalFresh benefits. And yeah, if you don't get work study, that's fine. You can also apply based on your major. So yeah, I applied, I got it, and I get $290 a month for groceries. So that really helped my budget out. It's not really financial aid related, but that's just that's my favorite financial advice I can give to community college students. And Yeah, back to you, Thomas.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for those insightful tips and tricks. This feels like the natural next question. What is the best part of being a UC Santa Cruz student?
Being able to be outside and in nature all the time is 100% my answer. I think this campus is just like absolutely stunning. And I get so excited to show everyone around. Like I'm constantly taking pictures of the trees and everything, and the ocean is nearby. I just truly love the location. And another aspect of like the community here too is that everyone else also loves being outside just as much and like also loves the nature just as much. So I feel like I do a lot of group activities outside. I like to go to the beach with people, and I definitely think that's the best part about being a UCSC student in my perspective.
Thanks, Nadia.
The professor. Oh, I have two. Can I say two?
Fine.
The research opportunity, the research opportunities and the professors. So like I am in humanities and in social sciences. And when I was like going into college, research like didn't really align with what I thought was humanities and social science. Like I pictured research as like doing drops onto like a microscope slide, but I've had so many research opportunities. I've been doing independent research on campus for the past almost 3 years, 2.5 years, and it's really been like amazing. And part of that is that I get to work with really, really incredible professors. My favorite professor and my senior thesis advisor, Professor Hiroshi Fukurai in the legal studies and sociology. He's a legal studies and sociology professor, and like getting to connect with him, he's given me so many opportunities. I got a grant to go to Hawaii to complete my independent studies research. It's just been amazing. I love it. I love like having the freedom to explore the things that I really care about.
Yeah, besides the other reasons my coworkers stated, I really love how there's so many like-minded students around me at least in the CS department. Like we get to collaborate, we get to like, it's so great to be around like this like-minded people, because there's not a lot of opportunities in, I would say, community college to be around people like that. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity the school has given me, really.
Thank you all. Awesome. Aaron, did you say 4:45?
Yes, but
Okay, great.
I can throw some live questions in now.
We'd love that. Yeah.
Perfect. So I know for those attending, you've also gotten to experience our wonderful transfer students that are not on camera, but they're in the chat answering your questions. There was a lovely answer already written, but I thought I would ask the panel what advice or like what would you have liked to know prior to transferring to UCSC that maybe you can say here now for our new students?
I think this is a hard one for me actually because I don't know, I kind of feel like all of the things that I didn't know, I was glad that I was able to like figure them out here, if that makes sense. But I think a piece of advice that I would give, I guess, to myself before I came here is to just be open-minded to everything and open-minded to like making new friends and meeting everyone and open-minded to like all of the opportunities and events, especially those first couple weeks when school starts. I think is my greatest piece of advice.
definitely that. And also, I wish I knew about the opportunities or the resources that we had on campus. I'm assuming the people attending this are like a step ahead. You have an idea of what resources are available. I had no idea. Um, I also, if I could give myself a piece of advice, it'd be like take advantage of all of the resources that they have, like accept everything that they'll give you. Don't be prideful and think that you should do it alone. Take the help that like just because you get help and you utilize these resources doesn't mean you are doing anything wrong or failing in some sort of way. That was one of my like big fears was like, if I can't do it alone, am I doing it right? You don't have to do it alone. There's resources for a reason. I mean, sometimes the odds are stacked against you in different ways, and yeah, take advantage of the resources and go online and check out what they have available for like your demographic and your circumstance.
I would definitely say you have to be proactive because the campus is huge and you're not going to see everything by not by like, just passing by it. You have to take the extra step to see all the opportunities the campus has to offer because there's a lot of hidden opportunities that students don't see, like with research or with organizations and clubs. So I would definitely say be proactive, take the extra step and see what's out there.
Thanks so much. Yeah, I love all those answers on being open, being proactive, taking initiative. Um, Maybe another question to throw to all. Can you talk a little bit about, what's your experience like in your classes and with your professors? Is that an enjoyable experience? I know some of you touched on resources and internships, like maybe what are some ways you've seen things like that come from your classes? So it's kind of a big umbrella question, so feel free to answer whichever you want.
Awesome. I've had a wonderful time in my classes. I love being a literature major or just a smaller like art major in a school that's feels more like STEM focused, research focused, like that has bigger majors, if that makes sense. Like I like being a part of a smaller community on a big campus. That's really something I enjoy. Um, and I think with being able to find opportunities within your class, um, I would always recommend just going up and introducing yourself to your professor, and opportunities will come to you if you get your name out there, if that makes sense. I think that the professors want to like have students that they can mentor and give opportunities to, so you just have to be proactive with that again too. So
Yeah, just bother your professors after every class is what I do. So that they remember my name when I eventually ask them for help or a letter of recommendation or something. Can someone repeat the question though, really quick?
Yeah, just if you want to speak to what your experience has been like in classes with your professors, and or if you want to speak to like resources or sort of extracurriculars that came through your major and through your classes.
Yeah. I love the classes. The best part about like getting to the university is that you saved a lot of money at community college and now you're at a really amazing four-year university and all of the classes that you take are going to be within like your realm of interest. No more general education. If you're like me and you hate math, no more math. um so that's been really amazing is that like I get to like tailor my schedule and take classes that are like extremely interesting to me. And that also is a way that I've connected with my professors is like, oh my God, I every single quarter I say like this class has literally changed my life. I have never been more interested by a class before. I say it every single quarter and it's always true. I'm not lying. I love being able to like be in these classes that are so interesting and talking to my professors and being like, this is really interesting. Can you expand on this? Or sending them an email, to ask them for like academic papers that maybe align with it, or advice within the subject that they know about. And they get to put like my name to a face when I talk to them in class and stuff.
Yeah, in the classroom, I would say besides the professors, the course staff, the next best resource is actually going to be like your classmates. So connecting, networking with your classmates will benefit you more than you think. Um, Also, I know this doesn't apply for each class, but I have a class right now, and every Friday, like today, every Friday, we have like this research group or um like PhD candidates come into class and like present, tell us about their research and even like give us the opportunity to, know, work work with them in the research. So that's like sometimes your classes will offer you that opportunity, but yeah, just networking with your classmates, getting to know the course staff, it's gonna help you out a lot.
If I just like jump back in 1 minute, like on the note of like talking to the people who come and present in your class and getting in touch with your classmates, like I said, I've shared a lot of resources, like opportunities with people through connecting with my classmates. A lot of my classmates have shared opportunities with me. And there's a benefit to like getting a more personal relationship with your professors, because even if they aren't like posting opportunities, you gain the comfortability to approach them and ask them, hey, are you aware of any current research opportunities? And they might direct you in the right direction.
Thanks all. It's so cool to hear all of your different experience in your classes, but I'm glad it's been positive. Another question that we got, and I'll say we have 5 more minutes actually. So we get a little more time hearing from all you wonderful students, but someone had asked, how much money do you recommend a student budgets per quarter for personal stuff, laundry, food, Ubers? I know that can vary, and we also have estimates on our website. So, whatever you're each comfortable speaking with just about budgeting, maybe saying more on just maybe how financial aid or your own personal budgeting goes now being a transfer at UC Santa Cruz, that would be great.
Yeah. Um, to be completely honest, when I came here, this was the first time I had not had an income. So that was a huge learning curve to me. I had always just worked, and I also lived in my parents' house and they had all of the stuff. And so when I came here, I definitely spent way more money my like fall quarter than I should have been. So I just recommend in general, like making sure that you are like thinking about how much your lifestyle is going to cost, because it really does vary. Like I probably spend more money than the average person needs to, just because that's like my lifestyle, I guess. So just kind of knowing yourself and your money spending habits too, to be able to set a budget. But I can speak on like laundry specifically. Oh, and food, actually. I have a meal plan. So I don't really buy food off campus at all. So I budget very little for food. Like, some days the dining hall food is not speaking to me and I need to DoorDash. So I need to, budget some money for that. But with food, if you have a meal plan, think about that as well. But laundry, I spend about like $5 like every 2 weeks on my laundry. That's usually what it about averages out to. So because each washer is like 125, or the dryer is 125 and the washer is like 1. So that's something to keep in mind.
As I've said before, my circumstances is a little bit different than most students, but just in case there are any student parents or students in like partnerships, married, that are watching, I budget about $600 a month for me, my son, and my husband to have dinner and lunch every day. Usually breakfast is like leftovers or whatever, with the side of eggs. So I budget about $600 for groceries every month and $150 for weekend fun. And laundry actually is really cheap for me because my washers and dryers are only $1 per wash and $1 per dry. So laundry has been like a very affordable thing, especially if you go to Costco. This isn't a Costco ad, but if you go to Costco and you get like the giant thing of detergent and all of the giant things of dryer sheets, you will save a check for sure. But yeah, I mean, my budget's locked in these days. I was never a budgeter before, but UC Santa Cruz turned me into one for sure.
For me, my biggest expense as a off-campus student was food. And again, I'm gonna plug it again. CalFresh really saved my budget. Yeah. Um, yeah, but for me, I'm not a big spender. So I would say like $100 a month, I would estimate I I would spend. And yeah, not don't really have anything else to say about budgeting. Yeah.
Thanks so much. I appreciated all your answers because it does hit on those different things of like living off campus, living on campus, but with a kitchen or with a meal plan. And of course, like, yeah, each of our own personal ways around budgeting and spending is going to vary, but thanks for speaking to that. Um, we are at time for our panel, but I just want to give you each an opportunity. Is there anything briefly in closing you want to say to those listening about transferring to UCSC? I know some of our attendees, are coming here because they haven't made a decision yet. Transfers do have until June 1st, so trying to get all the info they can. But if there's anything quick you want to pass off before we close the panel, that would be great.
Yeah, well, thank you all for coming. And I think the closing thing I'd like to say is just you're going to make the right decision no matter what decision you make, and it's all going to be okay. And then the world is not ending, I promise. It's going to be okay.
My advice for anyone who transfers here or anywhere else, this is just life advice in general. If you are eligible for a resource and you need help, never pass it up because you think somebody needs it more. The resource is there for you. If you're eligible for a resource, you are the person that they want to take it. And there's enough to go around. Take advantage. Don't, I appreciate the kind heart. I have one too, but like you are the person in mind when that resource is created. So take it.
Yeah, I just want to say congratulations. Whatever choice you make, go make that choice. But if you have any more questions about UCSC or just transferring in general, you can contact TPP and transfer at ucsc.edu. We have a whole team with a lot of, diverse majors. So go ahead and contact us. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
That is a great shout out. I'll ask Jenny to drop that email in the chat to the attendees so that they can reach out to you. But thank you.
We also, Erin,
you.
real quick,
Yeah.
I want to thank, I really want
Yeah.
to thank everyone that wasn't on screen that was helping out so much with this. So Colin McLeod, and our fearless leader, Chantel, and who runs TPP and puts on, holds it down for all of us. Cheryl and Jenny helping out Aaron have this day. And then our peer mentors who weren't even on screen, we got more in the cut just helping out, Bug, Tame, and Ryder. So thank you all to everybody. Like we really are a community here, and I hope that vibe comes across. And if you like, also, I want to say, like, if you think this work looks fun, what these students are doing, and you end up transferring here, you know, email that email about doing this for the next cohort and supporting the next group coming in as transfer students. So plugging this as a job opportunity for transfer students.
That's right.
It'll be an open position.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Tomas, too, for facilitating. And yeah, thank you, panelists. You are wonderful. So appreciate you sharing your experiences. And I'm referring to you all as panelists because a lot of you were answering those questions in the chat, and that's also so appreciated. We're going to transition into our next steps because you might be asking, you know, now that you are admitted, you might want to know what is next for you. What are some things to know about? That'll hit on what some of our students shared about here. But please keep using the Q&A as we go through this presentation. This is an agenda of what I'm going to cover, but again, you can ask those questions along the way, and somebody from admissions will be able to answer it. We'll also try to leave some time at the end for some live questions, but we'll go through what it looks like to review and accept your offer of admission, and then kind of what deadlines and conditions are there for you to do and to be aware of, some to-do list stuff, orientation, and then moving in. So the first step, if you decide that we are the campus for you, is to review and accept your offer of admission. So I know it's been answered in the chat a couple of times, but transfer students do have until June 1st to accept their offer from UC Santa Cruz. So when you want to go through the process of accepting that offer, that's called the Statement of Intent to Register, or SIR for short. You'll kind of hear staff members like myself, or some of my other admissions colleagues refer to like your SIR or your SIR. I am going to highlight a couple screenshots of what it looks like, just so you can be a little more acclimated to it if you haven't done this already. So you would start by logging into your My UCSC portal that can be reached at my.ucsc.edu. And you can go ahead and look at your application status to find your admission offer. And you would click, now that I'm admitted, what is next? There is going to be a button to decline our offer admission, if that's the decision you end up making. And then another button that allows you to begin the multi-step process of accepting the offer of admission. Part of accepting your offer of admission is that you're going to be asked to review your conditions of admission contract. So your offer is conditional. So what that means is that you are responsible for continuing to meet any of your major requirements, UC requirements, GPA requirements. So if you are currently taking coursework at your community college, for example, part of your conditional admission would be finishing strong there. If you have made any changes to your spring schedule that you didn't inform us about in your application update, or if you don't pass a class, there is a process that you can go through. It's called a schedule change grade issues form, and that's something that you can always reach out to your representative, your admissions representative, or you can look at conditions of admissions on our website to access that form. But that is something that you would utilize if some of the conditions of your admission may not be met. We do have the QR code to that form and some other scenarios, but it also can be found on our admissions website. So as you continue on, you'll be asked to rank your top 5 college affiliation preferences. So UC Santa Cruz is made up of 10 colleges, and each college provides academic support. There's an advisor that's kind of housed there that helps give you advice on your overall requirements, what courses you can take. Each college has its own group of student activities and events. So for transfers, a couple of things to note. Our colleges in general, they're not related to your major. And then for transfers, they're not related to where you'll live on campus. That's much more common with our freshman applicants. Everybody, regardless of being a freshman student or a transfer student, does pick a college to be affiliated with. But it's the freshman students where that determines typically where they live on campus. For transfers, we have our own transfer housing communities, which I will touch on in a few slides. But basically, I would encourage you to look up each college. Each one has a theme and it'll be linked there in your form. And I would recommend that you choose the theme that speaks the most to you. And your college affiliation, again, can provide some extra events, extra support. It can be a small home away from home. But everyone's going to have a college affiliation that goes to UC Santa Cruz. An example, I went to UC Santa Cruz 10 years ago, which is a while. But my college affiliation was John R. Lewis College, which you can see on the right on that list here. Now, on the note of housing and where you'll live, you will be asked what your housing preference is. So all new students, both freshmen and transfers, are guaranteed 1 year of on-campus housing for their first year. If you want to take advantage of this offer, you do need to select university housing at this stage. It does require an advance fee of $150, but I will say it's much easier for you to turn down a campus housing spot later than it is to try and ask for a spot after this point. So if you think you might want on-campus housing, I would choose this option instead of off-campus. But you can select off-campus housing if you want, or if that's what you are planning on. If you are a transfer student that's interested in our family student housing, so if you have partners and or children, family student housing does have a separate application process from this SIR form. So I know that this doesn't sound intuitive, but I've confirmed it very recently with my colleagues. If you're planning on family student housing, you'll select off-campus housing. University housing is going to be part of some other housing opportunities on campus, but not the one specifically for our students with families. So that's just a little note about family student housing there. And these are some wonderful pictures of our transfer student housing options. So the biggest transfer student housing community is located at Porter College on campus. It's close to our Academic Resources Center. Our STARS office was close to there at one point, and basically it is your transfer hub. So you will be housed with other transfers there. You'll get to meet people coming from similar backgrounds as you in terms of transferring. That's our largest community, so most of our transfers are at Porter College, and those are dorm style houses. We do also have Redwood Grove, which is a small, quiet community for incoming transfer students, and it's apartment style. Students do have to be 23 or older to apply and qualify for Redwood Grove. And I will say too that we have a lot of themed housing on campus, and some of those themes are same gender floors, but we also have trans inclusive housing. And one of those housing options for our trans students is at Redwood Grove. So if you are under 23, but you're interested in that housing option, you can still select it. We do also have other trans inclusive housing on campus. Just wanted to throw that out there. And then a limited number of spaces for transfer students are also available at our University Town Center, which is also similarly dorm styled. It's actually downtown, even though it is part of university housing, and it's right next to the transit center, so you are able to hop on a bus on campus pretty easily. So the UTC has double and triple rooms, and then they have private bathrooms and kitchenettes. And I talked a little bit about family student housing that is on campus. Those are 1,000 square foot, unfurnished, 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartments. And the village is also an option for transfer students to select. So the village is on campus, and it is made up of slightly dorm style rooms, but then there's a communal kitchen. It's a smaller housing community on campus. I will say, if you indicated that you're interested and want to be considered for university housing on campus on this SIR form, then you're going to be on Housing's radar when they start to do their communications about ranking your preferences, filling in things like a roommate questionnaire so that they can match you with somebody. You'll be able to indicate any specific housing needs or accommodations or preferences there. That'll all come after June 1st, after the official SIR deadline is over. But by indicating yes to university housing on that form, that's how you're getting on Housing's radar for that first year guarantee. And once you've filled everything out, you will be asked to submit some deposits. And the page on the right-hand side of my slide, this screenshot, this is a very important one, and you want to make sure that you saw it if you've already submitted your SIR, or that you will see it if you go through it. You want to see success and congrats, some of that language. That's basically showing that you have completed everything and that your SIR was submitted successfully. If you are concerned or unsure, you could reach out to your admissions representative and just say, hey, I just want to make sure that my SIR went through. You could also email our general admissions email, and someone could check on that for you. I'll ask my colleague Jenny to put that in the chat, just the general admissions email. But you want to see the congrats page. That's how you know that you have made it and you are a UC Santa Cruz student. Now, after you've submitted your SIR, you're going to want to make sure that you meet all of your deadlines and conditions of admission. Like I said earlier, it's going to be after June 1st, after the official SIR deadline, that more communication is going to come in. Especially around these things pictured here on this slide. If you have already submitted your SIR, that's amazing. You're just a little bit ahead of the communications that will come after the deadline, so don't worry too much about that. But you will want to check your My UCSC portal and your UCSC email regularly, because you're basically going to start getting just a list of to-dos and some important dates to be aware of. So one of those is when your records are due. So you will be sending us official transcripts, official test scores, that'll show up with a due date. You'll also see things for housing if you indicated that you wanted on-campus housing. There will also be things from financial aid in there. Your UCSC portal is your hub for all of that information, and all of those to-do items. So those dates and deadlines are really critical, and we encourage you to, again, check in regularly, try and stay on top of those. The things will change from required to completed as you check things off. Sometimes things take a few days for our office to process. So if you sent a transcript in on Monday, you might not want to email us Tuesday asking if we got it. Try to give it a few days. I know it's important to make sure that all those things are turned in, but we will have a little bit of turnaround time. So that's just something to be aware of. And again, checking that My UCSC portal is very important. I will note your incomplete action items will be in red, so it should be pretty clear what things need to be done. This is just a screenshot of how you can find your to-do list on the portal, what some of those items will look like, and yeah. Now, some things to be aware of is Slug orientation and Summer Edge. So Slug orientation is something that all of our new students do. It is a mandatory thing. Summer Edge is optional. So I just want to put that out at the beginning, and then I'll explain what each is. But our Slug orientation is an academic program that's designed to help you start off strong on day one. So Slug orientation consists of completing a series of online courses during June, July, and August. And I just want to say up front that this is an online class and it is asynchronous. So you do not have to change your summer plans. If you had a fun vacation or time off planned, I want you to still do that. But your Slug orientation will basically give you a lot of information about transitioning to UCSC, and a lot of your assignments, so to speak, are going to be things related to that to-do list. So it's going to be things that you need to complete anyway, but it's going to be very structured, give you further information about what resources and support are available to you, and gives you opportunities to ask questions. So one of the things to be aware of also with orientation is that doing this is how you will get an enrollment appointment to register for your classes. And part of that will be meeting with academic advisors, making a plan. So that's built into orientation as well. And then Summer Edge is optional, but this is if you want to get a head start on your coursework and come for the summer. You could take summer courses in some different sessions for UCSC, but you also could participate in Summer Edge, which is going to allow you to live on campus for a little bit in the summer, take your classes, live with other students who are doing the same thing, and get acclimated to UCSC ahead of time. So again, Summer Edge is optional, but it can be a really financially advantageous move. They often have a lot of deals for signing up for classes, and it's a nice way to get acclimated to the campus ahead of time and meet some friends ahead of fall classes. Move in and welcome week, as you move through the summer and we get closer and closer to fall classes starting, you've been going through that to-do list and sending things into us, doing your orientation, you'll eventually get to welcome week. So if you are living on campus, you'll get information from housing about your specific move-in date and kind of details about that. Everyone will get information about welcome week. It's filled with a lot of sessions that are informative and activities that are very fun. One highlight from our welcome week is Cornucopia, which is a big event on the field, and that's where all of our clubs and student orgs table, and you have a chance to get to know people there and get connected to some of your interests and some groups that you might want to be a part of on campus. Welcome week happens before fall classes start, so you should have lots of time to be able to participate. And again, you'll get more information both about your move-in, but about welcome week through your My UCSC email. And just highlighting some resources for you, just to be conscious of time. I'll go through these quickly, but some of our students mentioned our STARS office. So that stands for our Services for Transfer, Reentry, and Resilient Scholars. So STARS is basically a wonderful umbrella of programs for transfer, reentry, and independent students. They guide students that are going through the transfer process who are new. They have mentorship programs. They have programs for students that are returning to school at an older age, students that have been in or have had a family member be in the military, students who are parents, students that have experienced the foster care system or homelessness or incarceration. They offer counseling, peer mentoring, again, community events, and really they are just your hub that's focusing on your care and growth while you're at UC Santa Cruz. Can't say enough about STARS. They're wonderful people, and that is a center that exists for you as transfer students. There's lots of other different types of support at UC Santa Cruz. So there is academic success support that includes things like tutoring, career and internship office, also a disability resource center if you need to get affiliated with them for further accommodations. But there's lots of different opportunities for you to get advising and academic success. And health and safety, that can mean a lot of different things, but Santa Cruz does have quite a wide array of options to help make sure that you feel safe and supported on campus. So we do have safe ride programs and blue lights. We have some emergency services on campus. We also have a counseling center and a student health and outreach center. We have groups that help students that are in crisis. We have food pantries. There are quite a lot of things to help you feel supported. Again, I know that health, safety, those are kind of big terms. They mean a lot of different things, but there are quite a lot of options at UC Santa Cruz if you want to take advantage of that. Those are all of my slides. You know, we hope to see you in the fall. Again, if we're the UC for you, we are so happy to have you. But again, I just want to give a big congrats to you for getting into college or multiple colleges in some of your cases. I hope that as you go through this process of either getting ready to come here because you've already decided on UC Santa Cruz, or the process of figuring out where to go next on your transfer journey. I just hope that you know that we are here to support you and answer any questions that we can. And you can always feel free to connect with us in admissions or with our transfer preparation program, many of whom you heard from today. But again, big congrats. Thank you for taking time out of your Friday to hang out here. I'm just gonna pause to see if we have any questions in the Q&A, but I know we're also close to time. And I'm seeing that, yeah, our team has been really on top of all of the questions. Thank you, team, and thank you to our TPP team and our current transfer students. Yeah, just super grateful for you. Since we don't have questions in the Q&A and we are at 5:14, I will say that we can consider this webinar done. I want to make sure that you all can go to the rest of your Friday plans without being held up. But thank you again for coming. We so appreciate you giving your time. And again, big thank you to our transfer preparation student leaders. You are wonderful. We're so glad to have your insight and so lucky for that.